Good afternoon, and welcome to a new episode of the Guru Perspective. Today, I will be telling you what's going on and giving you the grades for all 32 teams. I'm not going to make it to the point where it's drawn out to where it's an hour, hour and a half. I'm going to just talk about the best and the key acquisitions on the teams and let you know that there are grades that I gave them. I feel like I wasn't really too excited because my team didn't do what I expected them to do, but at the same time, I know that's not how they really operate. Being a Detroit Lions fan for a while now, I know that they focus on doing things through the draft, having a young core, and focusing on having a team built from the ground up. I would have liked to got some of them key acquisitions out there. It was a lot of them, and I feel like the free agent frenzy is that's what it's made for too. We had enough money to accommodate some of them, but we didn't go in that direction. But I don't want to key in on that. I want to focus on some of the acquisitions on some of the new teams, and I want to start off with the Arizona Cardinals. Josh Sweat was a big addition to the team. They signed him to 4 years, $76 million. And another key acquisition was actually a person who they had got last year at the trade deadline was Baron Browning. Grabbing Josh Sweat was big, and that was a big move. And along with retaining Baron Browning, that would definitely boost their pass rush. And this was a team that I felt like who missed the playoffs, but I believe they'll have a good run in the future. They were like a sneaky good team, and they had a few games that I thought that they should have won. One of them was the game against the Vikings. They didn't absolutely pull that off. I think that was one game closer to the playoffs for them, but in that sense, getting Josh Sweat and then keeping Baron Browning, that's definitely going to help that team out. I even like the acquisition of them getting a Jacoby Brissett. He's not really one of those run and scramble type quarterbacks, but he's a really good second string quarterback over there. And that's what they needed with Kyler Murray. And he's kind of fragile. He's not a big dude. So I actually like that acquisition as well. And I thought that that was a good start for those guys. Jacoby Brissett has a 2 year deal, and he will be with Kyler Murray now for the next couple of years, I believe. And the Atlanta Falcons, I gave the Atlanta Falcons a D, in my opinion, because I felt like they didn't do anything. They didn't focus on getting them a good pass rush, and I was surprised that they were quiet right now after having the season they had where they were doing good at the beginning and it sizzled with, the issues with Kirk Cousins, and it was just a lot going on there. I did like the Jake Matthews signing the 2 year $45 million. And another key acquisition, I believe, was Divine Diablo for the linebacker for 2 years, $14 million. But I didn't think they'd do enough. I thought that they would do much better. Definitely knowing the division they're in, the division is not really that strong. It's kind of a weak division that I still believe right now Tampa Bay should be the top of. But yeah, I definitely gave them a D because I didn't feel like they did enough when it came to free agency. I want to focus on the Baltimore Ravens. I gave them a C. The reason why they would have had a bad grade if they didn't keep Ronnie Staley. And keeping Ronnie Staley afloat, I knew that they wasn't going to have enough wiggle room. I did like the acquisition of DeAndre Hopkins, but he's getting up in age. I think if this would have happened 2, 3 years ago, I'd have been a little bit more excited. But yeah, he's at the back end of his career. So I gave them a C just for keeping Ronnie Staley. The Buffalo Bills, I gave them a C as well because I feel like the Bills needed receivers. I wasn't really too keen on Josh Palmer. But then I did like the fact that they retained Greg Wazoo. Khalil Secure, he's actually a pretty good slot receiver. And they kept Terrell Bernard. They kept most of the house people, and in-house people were good for me. The key acquisition they had, the reason why I still gave them a C because I like Joey Bosa, but he's not consistent and he doesn't stay healthy. That's why they made the easy decision to keep Khalil Mack and to release him because Khalil Mack is like in his 30s now, mid 30s almost, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And he still stay consistent. He's 34. He's a consistent, edge rusher. And, he's never really been injured versus the fact that Joey Bosa can't stay on the field. I don't think he played 16 games at least average 12 to 13 games in a full season. I'm going to give the Carolina Panthers a B because the Panthers concentrated on defense and that they should have done already for sure. They might overpaid a little bit for some of the guys that they got, like Deshaun Wharton and Trayvon Morridge. But I believe they did that to try to fill in the void, a hurtful day for them because I definitely felt like they had Milton Williams, but they let him slip and he went to the New England Patriots. So yeah, I gave them a B because they definitely have been trying to be busy. They had like a 2-year deal to keep Andy Dalton intact too to help out with the young rookie. Well, I can't say he's a rookie. I gave the Bears an A simply because they did two things. They bulked up their offensive line to help out with the young Caleb Love in his sophomore season. And then you turn around and then you bulked up that defense as well. So they're going to be a pretty gritty team. Right now, on paper, they're definitely improved. And I definitely like how they revamped that O line. I did like the Grady Jarrett deal. The only thing I didn't like about it is Grady Jarrett's a little up in age. I feel like they reached a little bit for that, contract, the 3-year, 43 million. And I feel like the good acquisitions to me was the center, Drew Dahlman. I like the Jonah Jackson deal, from the Rams, and I like the Joe Tony deal that they traded from the Chiefs. So that was really good to me for the Bears, because that basically let me know that they're continuing to trying to build on the draft what they had last season, and now they're focusing on getting their offensive line and the defensive line in the trenches taken care of. Bengals got an incomplete on me. I would have gave them an F, but at the same time, I look at it like they franchise tag T. Higgins. They're trying to keep him around and sign him, but it's like where are your signings at? You signed Mike Gesicki, no disrespect, to a 3-year, $25.5 million contract, but that was some money that you could have had to try to go after your, Jamar Chase and to go after T. Higgins and trying to keep them afloat, especially Trey Hendrickson. Now that he's seeking a trade, and now you're trying to get a king's ransom, for him to go to another team. So yeah, I didn't really give them a grade per se. They got Samaje Perine back as well on a 2-year, $3.8 million deal, but didn't still feel like that was enough. Like I said, I would have gave them an F, but they didn't do anything to me, so I gave them an incomplete. I gave the Cleveland Browns a C. Resolving the Miles Garrett issue was big, but other than that, they didn't have a lot of money, to spare. But to get Kenny Pickett as a backup, he may be the starter, was huge because Kenny Pickett flourished and he looked really good over there when he was with Philly, after he got thrown away from Pittsburgh. And I think that he will excel with the Cleveland Browns. They need to focus on a few things too, like that O line and getting that together so Kenny Pickett can be able to get time to play and pass in the pocket. I looked at the Devin Bush deal and I feel like, unfortunately, I love him. He's a Michigan guy, football, college alum, but I believe he had a bust of a career, unfortunately. I gave the Dallas Cowboys a D minus because extending Osa Digwa was a good deal, and I understand why they did that because he was one of their better pass rushers. But then what I look at too was I didn't understand why you're not trying to give Makai Parson a deal right now and focus on him. But I just don't really feel like they did enough. I mean, he had a 4-year, $80 million deal, but I don't even see anything on this board that impressed me. They got a bust too in Solomon Thomas. They signed him to 2 years, $8 million, which wasn't too bad. I did like the Javante Williams deal, the running back that they got from the Broncos. But other than that, I didn't really see much that they did. That's why the grade for me, better yet, I take that back. I get them a full F. Denver Broncos, I gave them a B because I feel like to get two really good guys from the San Francisco 49ers defense was huge. To get Tanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw, two of the better defensive players, and you already had a solid defense. I didn't too much care for the Jared Stidham deal. I think he's a bust, and I don't really think he's a great quarterback at all. As a backup, he's mediocre to me. But the Hufanga deal for 3 year, $45 million was good, and the Greenlaw 3 year, $35 million. I like that. I did like the sneaky deal too with Evan Ingram, 2 years, $23 million. So they're doing a lot to try to help out on that defense. They already had a solid defense. They're really going to be shored up now with those two, San Francisco guys going over there and bringing that, leadership and that veteran leadership that they bring. I definitely like the fact that they did what they did, and I thought that it was actually pretty cool. And I just want to see how that work out. But then I still feel like they need some weapons too to help out the youngster Bo Nix. I do like Cortland Sutton, but I still feel like he's a great number two. Moving on, I give the Detroit Lions a C minus. I didn't feel like they did much. I know my co-host, on the Google Sports Session are going to be shocked when I say this. When I told them I was excited, about we didn't overpay for Carlton Davis III. That's just my opinion. I don't really feel like he did enough. He played great in spots, but then he was injured, and he has a history of injury. So to overpay him with New England did, I'm glad we didn't do that. But still, I feel like we end up getting the better of the deal. I gave them a C minus, like I said. Um, Derek Burns got a 3 year, $25.5 million contract. I didn't like the Marcus Davenport deal whatsoever, even though I know they didn't break the bank on him. I did like the DJ Reed deal, 3 year, $48 million, and for them to keep Dan Skipper. I didn't know who the heck Roy Lopez was. I seen some stuff he did on tape, and it looked like he'll be okay. But I still feel like we could have did more. Definitely trying to go after a pass rusher, being a little bit more aggressive. Like I said, I know we don't focus on that, and we focus on the draft, but I just didn't feel like it was enough. I want to go on and I want to give Green Bay a D. I didn't feel like they did anything. Aaron Banks and Nate Hobbs are solid players, but both seem to be a bit overpaid in this situation to me. And I just didn't feel like they did enough to, shore up their team. I thought that they could have did a lot better, especially trying to get number one wide receiver. They say they got good quality wide receivers, but you still need a number one to identify a number one in this league to take the cover off and to be a threat for teams. And I don't think none of these guys really threaten anybody with their speed. I gave the Houston Texans an F. The Texans had the biggest needs by far, and that was their offensive line, and they didn't do anything. And not only that, you let one of the best offensive linemen go to another team. So this is why I gave them a definite F. The Christian Kirk deal was like a 1 year, $15.5 million. I feel like they overpaid for him. Now the trade, the CJ Gardner Johnson wasn't too bad, but then most times I feel like he run off at the mouth more than he do make plays. That's my opinion. They ended up signing Derek Barnett to a 1 year, $5 million deal too, which I think will solidify their, defense, but I didn't really still feel like they did enough, in my opinion, to try to shore up that offensive line. And I gave the Indianapolis Colts a D plus. The reason why the Colts keep pieces on each line. They added some help from the secondary, but the Daniel Jones addition paid off only because the Anthony Richardson. He's not really too consistent. He might get injured. And, I still think though why he's still developing. I don't think really Daniel Jones is really a threat to his job like that. That's just me. But yeah, that's why I gave them a D plus. Jacksonville Jaguars, I gave them a B. Jacksonville got help in multiple spots without spending a lot of money. So that was smart for them to plug and play without breaking the bank. One of the good things I did like was the Eric Murray. I did like the De'Ami Brown too for 1 year, $10 million. But I still felt like the people they paid for, they have some quality players and they didn't spend too much. Kansas City, I gave them an A minus, man. They didn't really have a lot of money to be able to finesse around until they actually restructured two contracts. And I know Patrick Mahomes was one of the contracts that they actually restructured. But figuring out a way to bring back Trey Smith was huge, and then Nick Bolton. They end up keeping Hollywood Brown too because he was injured. They want to run it back with him, and they also grabbed offensive tackle Jalen Moore, who I still feel like with Jalen Moore that he was like a part time, starter. So by him being a full time starter now, he might have struggles like Jawan Taylor does. So be patient with him, Kansas City Chiefs fans. Give him a chance, but I want to look at the Las Vegas Raiders too. I gave them a B. And I know people like, damn, why you get them a B? Usually they make bad decisions and very bad decisions. But to keep Max Crosby happy, and then they end up getting Malcolm Kuntz back as well on a discount. And they did some good defensive players, some justice too, bringing over to the team. But then I thought the Adam Butler deal for 3 years, 16.5 million wasn't bad. And Landon Roberts was a cheap, really good, defender, the 1 year, $3 million. And Alex Cappa on that line too was really big help. And it was like a 2 year deal for 11 million. And the Raheem Mostert to solidify their running back room. I really felt like those were some good acquisitions. And I thought that was a good step in the right direction for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Los Angeles Chargers, I gave them a D. Keeping Khalil Mack was the main reason why I gave them a D because they didn't really do anything. They would have had a stronger grade if they were more aggressive, trying to get a receiver or anything. Cooper Cup. But then I'm just saying they didn't really do as much to solidify the team. I did like the Najee Harris deal, though. I'm being a little too hard. I should have gave them like a C minus. But then having him for 1 year, 9 million, and then bringing back Mike Wallace on a 1 year deal for 6 million wasn't too bad. The Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford is back. That's one key cog to them getting this B and then getting Devontae Adams. I feel like I wasn't too happy that Cooper Cup's leaving, but then you could tell he's always banged up and he's not really having consistent health right now. And then, the best ability is availability. And I've told you guys that several times. And I know you know that just in general. So by them getting Devontae Adams. He's older, but then, he's played more and it has more consistent games played than Cooper Cup has over the last few years. So, yeah, I thought that was really good. I didn't too much care for the Jimmy Garoppolo deal, but then you still have a sure, backup. He has a 1 year, $11 million deal. And Puna Ford, the 3 year, 29.6 million was not really bad as well. Miami Dolphins, I gave them a C minus. The reason why I gave them a C minus because the Dolphins lost another high price free agent. Javon Holland was a basically bona fide safety. He's that dude. And I don't know if a lot of people don't know him, but you go and please look at his tape. That dude is a beast. And but they were able to add James Daniels, but I still feel like you lost a huge acquisition to your team. James Daniel had a 3 year, $24 million contract. And I believe when they lost out, on their safety, Javon Holland, um, F.I.2 Melifonwu, from the Detroit Lions. That's why I'm familiar with him. He had glimpses of greatness, but the issue is with him is he can't stay on the field. I hope that he could do well for them, and get his opportunity to shine and start. And it was on a really cheap deal, 1 year, 4 million. So I thought that was good. And actually snagged the Tennessee Titans wide receiver Nick Westbrook Akine to a 2 year, $6.5 million deal. That was a huge discount, and I thought that was pretty good to get a good guy like that over there. Please, you guys, if you don't know Nick Westbrook Akine, please check him out, man. He's going to definitely do wonders over there in Miami. And then, too, Tyreek Hill, and then you got Jalen Waddle, who always injured, so he's going to get a lot of looks. I gave the Minnesota Vikings an A, man. They got a stout team, man. They moved on from Sam Darnold, so I know J.J. McCarthy going to get a good opportunity to start. They still need a solid backup right now. But I definitely like the cheap contract that they had with Aaron Jones. And then to bring back Byron Murphy, I thought that was an A. But then not only that, you guys, damn, they got Will Fry, the offensive guard, 5 year, 88 million. Then they signed a really stout defensive tackle, which I still feel like he's getting up there in age. In 3 years, I think was pushing it. They gave him 3 years, 60 mil. I like the Ryan Kelly deal, the 2 year, $18 million. Isaiah Rogers deal, I felt like wasn't too bad. The Javon Hargrave too was really good when they signed him. Harrison Smith with the restructured contract too, so they're going to still be a strong defense, and it's going to be a solid offense. And I don't think that's going to change. So they're going to definitely bring a lot of heat to our Detroit Lions. New England Patriots, I gave them a B plus, and I should have gave them like a A. But the reason why I didn't give them an A, they did well on defense. I like the Milton Williams deal, the 4 years, 104 million. I felt like they overpaid for Carlton Davis, a guy who's always injured. 3 years, 60 mil. I like the Harold Landry the third deal too for 3 year, $43.5 million. Robert Spillane was a good sneaky deal, 3 year, 37 million. Mac Hollins, you get a fourth string, wide receiver at best. And that's what they do. They got fourth string guys who starters on their team. And I just didn't really understand that. And I definitely like the fact that they got like a sure backup, 2 year, 8 million for Josh Dobbs. But I didn't feel like they did anything to get any good weapons over there. They tried to get some offensive line guys, but they're not flashy. And hopefully that can pan out. But I still feel like Drake May needed a lot of help. So I don't really too much think that they should get that A because it was still some question marks. You solidified that defense, which was already a pretty decent defense, but did really too much nothing to show for your offense. I gave the New Orleans Saints a F because they didn't do anything, and I felt like you overpaid for Chase Young. I thought that was ridiculous. I'm moving on. New York, I gave them a D. I didn't feel like they did anything really too much. The secondary got a little bit of help, and I believe they did that after the Xavier McKinney, but didn't still feel like they did enough. If you want to say them keeping Tommy DeVito was enough, okay, well, I might agree with that, but I doubt it. The Javon Holland deal, the 3 year, 45 million, was the only thing I really gave them credit for, and I gave the New York Jets a D. If you love Justin Fields, then the grade is higher. But I feel like he still needs to work on his deep ball accuracy. I believe him going over there with some of his Ohio State teammates is going to make them happy, but they didn't want to spend and break the bank on the quarterback. And that's why Aaron Rodgers is gone and he didn't really show any consistency too. And I think they're going to take their, turn to figure out and see what they can do with a Justin Fields. I want to move on and I want to give Philly a D. They didn't really have to do much, and I'm not even dogging them out, but they did lose a lot of key players. The Eagles will be fine. They lost a lot of them, like I said, but then getting Zach Bond back, they would have got an F if they didn't keep that gentleman. He got a 3 year, $51 million deal. And I like the fact that they kept Saquon to 2 years, 41.2 million. And they got a strong running back in AJ Dillon. Don't sleep on that guy. I remember him because he played for Green Bay. They call their team now with him and Saquon the Quad Squad. Joshua Uche was a sneaky good deal too, and it was on a 1 year deal. So I think that they'll still be okay. Don't worry about Philadelphia. Don't feel sorry for them because the Milton Williams and a lot of those guys left because they're still going to be okay. That's what it is when you win Super Bowls and you have a solid team. People want your players. I didn't really have too much to say for Pittsburgh. I didn't like the Donald Parham deal, but then they signed a lot of low key deals. The Kenneth Gainwell wasn't too bad, but then, you guys lost Najee Harris, and I don't know why. I did like the Darius Slay deal, for 1 year, 10 million. They end up bringing back Mason Rudolph to 2 years, 8 million. But the only deal that I really liked was the trade, honestly. And that's the reason why they didn't get an F. I might give them a D on this one because the DK Metcalf trade was really awesome. Not only did they get a true number one in DK Metcalf for 5 year, 150 million. At first, it was just a trade, and then they automatically, right then and there, signed him. And that's not even like Pittsburgh. So I was surprised with that one. San Francisco 49ers, I gave them an F. And it's hard to come up with a positive reason why to get anything good in this situation. They lost Debo Samuel, and I don't think that he was too happy after last year, which he didn't play up to expectations. He's not the same wide receiver, but what hurt them too is losing Brandon Ayuk earlier, and then they still taking calls on him too, so he's still available if the price is right. Just to let you know. I didn't really feel like they did anything. I did like that they took one of the guys from one of the weapons from Matthew Stafford and Demarcus Robinson for 2 years, 9.5 million. I didn't too much care for the Mac Jones deal. I thought that was a joke. So yeah, they barely got anything from me. Yeah, they deserve that grade. Seattle Seahawks, I gave them a C. Besides getting Sam Darnold, it wasn't really much that I seen that they did to impress me. I thought that it was okay to get Marquez Valdez Scantling, but it wasn't really that great. I did like the Demarcus Lawrence deal, but other than that, I just like the fact that they signed Ernest Jones back to a 3 year, $33 million contract. But I didn't really give them a good grade. It was just average at best. And all you did was you traded off a sure thing and Gino, and then you brought in Sam Darnold, which I don't know how well he's going to play yet, but then he played well and is maybe deserving of him to get that discount deal that he had. You know, the Sam Darnold got a 3 year, $100 million deal, kind of close or similar to what Baker Mayfield got. But Baker Mayfield been balling, and I hope that he could keep up the expectations. Sam Darnold, from what he did from last season as a full time starter again. Tampa Bay, I gave them a B. While they came down to the wire, it's not a surprise. Tampa Bay figured out a way to retain Chris Godwin and Avante David. They always take care of their guys, so I was really excited about that. And adding Hassan Reddick was really pretty good too. So I definitely liked them, and I gave them a B on that one. I gave Tennessee Titans a D plus. I didn't feel like they did much. I mean, Dan Moore Jr., the offensive tackle, 4 year, 82 million. That might have been a reach to me, in my opinion. But other than that, the Cody Barton, the linebacker, 3 year, 21 million. I don't know if that was too much of a reach, but I just feel like they didn't do too much. The one thing I did see that they did right now, and I wasn't too happy about, but even though Kevin Zeitler's getting up there in age, he's 34, maybe 35. I still feel like he's a quality, person on offense, and I believe he's still going to be a good guard. But I believe we let him walk before he got to the point to where he basically was a shell of himself. So yeah, it hurted me, but I feel like it was necessary. The Washington Commanders, I gave them an A minus. I know people like, damn, why you give them an A? Why you so hard on them? The biggest names on the list are aging, for one. And the Javon Kinlaw was definitely overpaid. But they did add Debo Samuel and Laramie Tunsil in the trade. So that's the only reason why. I feel like some of the guys that they overpaid for. I did like the veteran leadership that Bobby Wagner bring, the 1 year 9.5 and the Zach Ertz, the 6.25 million. But just felt like some of the deals was overpaying people. So that's why they didn't get the full A on my behalf. And I didn't really too much talk about a lot of the teams because I still have some other grades that I wanted to give. But for now, I just wanted to give some of those deals and talk about some of those teams and why I gave them those grades. I did want to step in and talk to you guys and let you know I apologize. I normally do a show on Tuesday. I was feeling ill and I wasn't myself. So I wanted to still give you something because it was so much that went on in the NFL. I was really ecstatic about that. And it wasn't as good after the first day and a half. It kind of went stale. But I wanted to get on here to let you guys know, give you the information you need and you usually thrive for. And at the same time, I want to let you guys know that we'll be back on the regular hours. We're going to be talking more or less about what's going on in March, which is March Madness. We're going to get ready to talk about that and the rankings and who we think will, become the champion on the men and women's side. and we want to focus on that, and then NBA is getting closer to the playoffs too. And I want to say before I get off of here, too, congratulations to Seth Curry, man, for hitting his 4,000 3-pointer. That won't go without being unsaid. But I just appreciate you guys from chiming in. If you have any questions or anything you want me to answer, you already know how to reach me now, and I would definitely like for you to do that more often. I appreciate you, Ruben, for plugging me in and getting more people to, comment and like and subscribe on my YouTube page. And I just like to say thank you all for chiming in and all my regulars. And I would like to leave you with a peace, love, and I'm out. Before I do get out, though, these are all my platforms that you can catch me on, of course. So just go ahead, follow Hewley, I'm on Hoovy on Instagram. Facebook, I'm Sports Guru to You. And then, of course, TikTok, I'm Hugh.Lee6. And you can catch me every time on EV Mux now on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. And at the same time, you can catch me on EV Mux again on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as well for the Guru football session. Or actually, let me change that. The Guru sports session. I'm just not about football. I don't want you to think that's all I'm about. I got a lot more in store. So thank you all. I love you. Until next week. And I'm out.